welcome everyone to the inaugural episode of A BetterMagic Podcast. You get to play on words. Is that nice? This is Team BetterMagic. This is Jared from Team BetterMagic, and I've got with me today your co-hosts Jeremy and Ronnie.
How's it going, everyone?
There's a good chance we'll have other people in and out of the podcast as we record these. We just kind of want to keep you guys abreast of what's going on in the Magic community, the world at large. We're a bunch of guys who love to play Magic, located all together here in the beautiful city of Indianapolis. Kind of as a team and as a podcast, our goal is to continuously be playing better Magic, getting better at Magic, making Magic more affordable to play for everyone. So hopefully winning more and keeping you happy. So that's kind of the goal. That's kind of the reason why we're doing this. So today we got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. We are right at the end. As we're recording this, we're right at the end of the Khans of Tarkir kind of reign of Limited as the first set in the Khans of Tarkir block, and we're about to move into Fate Reforged. So
yes, day one of
spoilers.
Day one of spoilers.
It is. Today's December 29th. We're about to head into the new year, the last couple of days of 2015. Or excuse me, 2014, moving in 2015. What are some cool things that you guys? Let's just kick it off right now. What are some things you guys liked in 2015 from Magic as a whole? And remember, we've got a whole bunch of people. We got a whole bunch of people on the team who are into all sorts of different types of Magic. So we'll talk about constructed Magic. We'll talk about limited Magic. We'll talk about some of the cool casual stuff that Wizards has been doing lately, and printing in those formats. So you'll hear us talk about a wide range of stuff. But again, the goal of our talks is to always make you more informed, so you play better Magic. Okay, so you guys, what'd you like in 2014?
Well, I mean, I liked GP Nashville, our team trio, sealed, right? Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That was a pretty fun experience. Got to work with a team. Out of 9 rounds, made it to the 7th round. Went farther than I expected us to go. That's just me. But also winning that modern tournament that a group of friends held. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, man. What about you, Ronnie? What did you like from Magic in 2014?
I especially like Khans of Tarkir. I like that the standard environment has become much more balanced than it previously has been in previous standard seasons.
No more blue-white Delver for 8 years, right?
Blue-white.
No blue-white. No 100% defining deck that dominates standard. It's
Caw-Blade.
Almost always changing now.
Sphinx's Revelation, Supreme Verdict.
Yeah.
Exactly. Blue-white was just in Return to Ravnica, it was just given all the tools. It's here is Jace, here is Protection Sphere, Supreme
those all
Verdict,
came out in one
Sphinx's
set.
Revelation. Have fun.
It was Jace Architect of Thought, Sphinx's Revelation, Supreme Verdict.
Azorius Charm.
Have it all in one set.
I don't know if you guys remember the days of Jund and Caw-Blade, though. I mean,
yes,
those were truly, oppressive
I returned
decks.
in Caw-Blade, and it was horrible.
Yeah, man. I mean, Jason Mind Sculptor in Standard getting an emergency ban because he's too good. Come on.
Yeah, and then I played against Jund, too, and it was just I play my Broodbraid Elf and cascade into a Lightning. It was
yeah, it was
I'm
ridiculous.
playing Magic.
Yeah.
Have fun.
I came back around that time as well. Went up against one Caw-Blade deck, and then next week, Jace was banned along with Stoneforge Mystic.
Yep.
So that was fun.
Was that the start of your control hate?
No. The start of my control hate was Blue-White Control, Return to Ravnica. That was when it started.
I'm surprised it didn't start then.
Actually, it kind of started around Solar Flare, because Solar Flare had that sort of control feel as well.
It was a Reanimator deck, wasn't it?
I mean, it was, but it also had the feeling of control.
It was a great deck.
It was a great deck, but it also blew a lot. That's back around that time I was playing Blue-Black Tezzeret Artifacts.
While we're in our first inaugural episode, we might as well go ahead and talk. Just give a brief kind of overview of who you are when you started playing the game and what types of Magic you like to play the most. I think we'll probably do this for you listeners as we have other members of our team join the podcast, we'll have each of them kind of go through, who they are, what they like, what Magic means to them. So we might as well knock it out here if one of you guys wants to start, and we'll roll through those before we go through the rest of the 2015 stuff.
Yeah, I'll go first. Name's Jeremy Barton. Came in around like 2005, I believe. That was Mirrodin, right?
Original Mirrodin? Yeah, it's something like that. It might be a little bit earlier.
2005 might have been Return to Ravnica,
Like Mirrodin,
or actually Kamigawa.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mirrodin, Kamigawa around those times. Mostly play Standard, but I dabble in Limited sometimes. As of just did an 8-4 today on Moto. Made it to the finals. Decided not to split. Lost to a pretty good 5-color deck.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I have a modern deck that I've been just fine-tuning for a little bit. But other than that, Commander, whoever wants to play, I'm down for it. Legacy, I'm too poor. Let's just get that out there.
All right, cool. What about you, Ronnie?
All right, so I'm Ronnie Baldwin. I've been playing since 2003 during Legions. First deck I ever bought was a blue-white. I think it was a pre-con deck. It was a blue-white morph deck, and it was terrible. Yeah. And I kept trying to refine that deck for like a year, trying to make it good. And it never was. I ended up like trading all my stifles and stuff like that because I was new to the game. I had no idea what any of the cards
that was
did.
2003.
So I was like, what is this stupid card that counters us or like a triggered ability? I was like, well, this is stupid.
Right.
I was like, let me get these Weaver of Lies and stuff like these, the things that synergize with my morph deck.
Right.
And so I was playing pretty regularly until about 2005 during Saviors of Kamigawa when Saviors was horrible. And like none of the cards were very powerful because they were trying to dumb it down after Mirrodin had just ravaged like this. Well, I guess it was Type 2 at the time. They would just end block and like every format that it was in. Like all the Mirrodin cards were just overpowered.
Yeah.
And I just happened to leave.
When did come out?
You're a robot, man.
When did the snakes come out?
They came out in Champions, and actually a little bit more later on, because that's when they had Seshiro.
They're a bunch of betrayers.
Yeah. It was never really that good.
Yeah.
I liked them. I thought they were pretty cool. I made a snake deck with Suzuki summons, the Orochi egg hatcher, hatchery, whatever that guy with snake summoning was. It was a pretty fun deck. Just all around derpy.
The patron of the Orochi?
Yeah,
that guy was insanity, dude. Is that 8/8 from Betrayers or whatever? Yeah.
Is that the one that gained life?
It does something.
I think it was, but it was also like it was Seshiro, Suzuki, and crap. I can't remember what his daughter's name
Patron's
was.
an 8/8, right?
Seki? Or no,
7/7.
not Seki.
He's 7/7.
That's the Seasons Guide, I think it was. Patron of the Orochi untap all force and green creatures.
Yeah, that card is great.
In the world. It's such a bizarre
It's ability. A Timmy card, man. Perfect.
Yeah.
It's an awesome one. Like, because the snake summoning, you had to just tap them, right?
Yeah.
So you just tap them, play them, and then he's like, oh, hey, all of you untap. Yeah,
right.
Awesome.
All right.
Sorry, Ronnie, continue.
Enough snakes.
Okay. So back to what I was saying. So I left during Saviors of Kamigawa, which was right before Ravnica first came out, which is like one of the best sets. I mean, I know Jeremy loved that set.
No, it was just regular
you liked it too,
Ravnica.
Jared.
Yeah. It is one of the best sets of all time, man.
It was regular Ravnica.
Yep.
Yeah. And then came back, let's see, it was Rise of the Eldrazi, because I was trying to buy the Rise of Eldrazi pre-con deck that had, what's that card that Nick uses? It was the green one that made the Eldrazi spawns. Awakening Zone.
Awakening Zone.
Yeah, that's one of my questions. But yeah, so I came back then, and I've just been playing. I play a lot of Standard, and I've been dabbling now into Limited a lot more, mainly because of budget reasons. So that's basically what I've been doing. That and trading as much as I can.
Cool. Okay, so now we know about you guys. Like I said, this is Jared Jewett. I've been playing Magic since, I've owned Magic cards since 1995-ish. I must have been 5 or 6 years old. Just my dad brought home a box of Magic cards, and I thought they looked super cool. So I kept them and collected them and organized them and didn't really know how to play. just kind of grew up with those. Nobody else knew how to play. I remember going to summer camp and some kids knew how to play, and I sort of learned how to play then. And I just, bought booster packs and cards on and off, not really knowing what I was doing up until probably like right before Mirrodin. So yeah, so like Onslaught, Legion, Scourge. Actually started playing the game, but I've actually been more on the finance side of things even longer than that. So collecting them, or collecting cards to like build full sets, and then a buddy of mine and I used to like do that and then sell those on eBay when we were in like middle school using like his mom's account. I've really been into that forever and ever and ever. And I've been playing on and off since then. I really got heavy into it in the last maybe 3 years or so. And I'm not a huge fan of constructed formats, just never really have been. But limited is kind of my jam. I love opening up a fresh booster pack full of cards, giving them a sniff, picking the best cards out, and building a new deck every time, and using sort of my knowledge of the format to really take advantage and win. And that's what I'm all about. So, but yeah, and again, as a financier, buying collections, selling cards, trading into better cards, and Cube. Cube is probably my all-time favorite anything. So as far as Magic goes, that is kind of the apex for me. So.
My favorite limited format.
Yeah.
Cube for sure.
Yep.
So some of these cards in Fate Reforged are pretty sweet.
They're really
I gotta
sweet.
say, yeah, I'm cool. I'm liking some of them a lot, like that. I'll just wait till we get into it till I express how much I love one of the cards.
I mean, yeah, if you guys want to go ahead and we can dive right into it now. Like we said at the beginning of the cast, today was the first day of actual legit spoilers from Wizards of the Coast. The spoilers they sanction. They got a big spreadsheet of cards that they think are worth spoiling, and they spoil a great many of them themselves, but they give a few to outside sources to spread to their networks. And kind of day in and day out for the next month or so, they'll be spoiling the rest of the set, and super exciting.
So, I have a question.
Yeah.
So how is it how do they determine which cards they should spoil? Is it like somebody like Mark Rosewater that's like, oh my god, these cards are super sweet?
No, I think he wishes he could do that. They have I know they have a marketing and a public relations department that really figure all that out. They look at the cards and say, what's the coolest thing? What's the audience going to be most excited about right off the bat? What's going to build enough interest to where we can sell the most booster packs, right? I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's all they care about.
So not Archangel's Light.
yeah, exactly. Right. But so
they
that's
never
why
spoiled that card, and they're like, here's the last mythic, and they're like, this thing sucks.
This thing is terrible, right? So that's why they give us a card like before spoiler season start as a Christmas present, right? They give us the coolest card from a flavor standpoint in the entire block, probably.
Oh, yeah,
right?
they like back when we were in Nashville for the GP, they spoiled Yozova Dragonclaw.
Oh yeah.
And Crux of Fate, if I'm right. Those were the two that they
Correct.
did.
Yeah.
To basically introduce what this set's about.
Exactly.
Back in time.
Badass cards.
Yep. So that kind of set the story, and that got people intrigued, right? So I guarantee you, it's probably people from creative, probably people from the actual marketing team. They sit down and they say, these are the cards that are going to start telling the story, get people excited, sell booster packs. That's just what it is.
Did they say how far they actually go back in time?
1,280 years.
Because they look, like a lot of the cards look the same.
They do.
Like,
1,280 years.
Well, yeah, because Yosova's like Sirach's like great.
Like, really great.
Super great grandma.
Super great grandma. He's just like, hey, what up?
So that means that Soren has been alive since then for 1,200 years.
Is that right? Oh, yeah, because Yogen would have been before. Yeah, because he wouldn't have even died until, or whatever, the listeners, if you know the story, Yogen and Soren were hanging out with the Lithomancer, and they captured the Eldrazi so they wouldn't go destroy worlds. So what Ronnie's saying is the Yogen and Soren had to have, or Yogen and Soren would have had to known each other at least 1,280 years in the past, right?
Well, he is a vampire, immortal.
Yeah, he's super duper old. Yeah.
He must be really bored.
He also created. He also created like the single strongest force on Innistrad. Like.
Yeah.
The guy's a badass.
Well, it's not that strong right now because everything's cool.
Right. Everything's legit.
He created Avacyn. He's just like, here you go.
Here, protect this world.
Here's an archangel that you're gonna like worship for the rest of your lives.
Yeah, protect these people when things get dire.
All right, so do you guys want to talking about things getting dire? We'll make bad segues and go. You want to just go ahead and start going through some of these cards, some of these new mechanics?
Yeah.
So what kind of order do you want to do this in? Do you want to talk in in terms of standard or limit, or just kind of like?
Well, we can go card by card for the ones that are pretty cool.
Okay.
And basically not look at any of the stupid commons and uncommons that don't matter.
Hey, some of them might matter.
Maybe.
You never know.
That's true.
How about you pick them, and then we'll just talk about it.
Well, let's talk about the big spirit daddy himself. How about we talk about Yogen, the spirit dragon?
That sounds perfect. Let's dive in.
Cool.
Is this your favorite card, Jeremy?
Yeah, Jeremy.
Card? I don't know, because we all know how much I love Nicobolas. The guy's just like the number one dude.
He's evil. He's super evil.
Hey, I mean, whatever. You gotta have some evil guy. Why not root for the bad guy sometimes?
Okay. All right.
The funny thing is, he can't kill Nicobolas when he comes into play. But Nicobolas can.
Yeah, Nicobolas is just like destroy target, non-creature permanent.
Yeah.
So,
and Yugen's like, no.
He's like, if I had 2 more loyalty, I could kill you.
And
yeah.
That's Nicobolas's plus ability, destroying him.
Right.
That's not even his minus.
Right.
But I'd have to actually see the whole set before I just like, oh, this is my favorite card right here.
Right.
Because there's 4 other dragons coming out from the other one that was already spoiled. So, and one of the dragons is going to be green-red, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have to hold off on that because, I mean, everybody knows I love dragons. I mean, except for the listeners. So, I mean, like, Yugen's up there. He's, like, there, but, yeah.
He's an Ugin. He's not even a dragon.
He's a dragon. Like, it's whatever. Yeah.
All right, so let me read the card for the listeners. So, Yogen the Spirit Dragon is an 8-mana, colorless planeswalker. Planeswalker Yogen, right? He's a mythic. He has 3 abilities. So his +2 is Yogen the Spirit Dragon deals 3 damage to target creature or player. So it's Ghostfire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ghostfire is, 2 colorless and a red, and deals 3 damage at instant speed to target creature or player, but it's colorless. So
it gets around protection, stuff like that.
Right. His second ability is -X. Exile each permanent with converted mana cost X or less. That's 1 or more colors. So he can't zap. He can't wrath away morph dudes or tokens.
Yeah.
So
which
or
is
colorless
very
tokens.
relevant with one of the other cards.
When I first looked at the ability, I was like, oh my god, he gets rid of lands too. Like, that's kind of terrible. But then I was like, oh wait, lands are
No,
colorless.
yeah, our buddy Nick asked me the same question. I was like, nope.
Yeah, I was like, Jeremy, what are you talking about?
Okay, and his last ability is -10. So he starts. By the way, he starts with 7 loyalty. So if you activate him 3 times, then on the 4th turn after that, you can activate this ability. Or excuse me. So he's actually +2. So 3 turns later, you can activate this ability.
Yes.
It says -10. You gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and then put up to 7 permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield, which is pretty cool.
He's the opposite of what Nicobolas does with his ultimate.
Yeah, it's the
exact opposite.
It's the positive, good, happy, fuzzy feeling version of a Cruel Ultimatum. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's reasonably easy to get to.
Maybe. Do you think dealing 3 damage is enough to protect him though?
No, the -X is what's going to protect him.
Yeah, I guess that's a good call.
He's going to kill everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking at it from like a standard viewpoint right now. Like, you got all these tokens out here, so you're just like -X for -X equals 0. All your tokens are destroyed. So, I mean, I don't see like, he's kind of like how Sarkin enters the battlefield. Like, if they only have 1 creature, Sarkin can Flame Tongue Kabu it. Sarkin's on the field by himself and has the free reign of going at them next turn alongside your removal spells that you have in your hand that you're probably playing with him. And Yogen can do that exact same thing he also can ping a dude if need be. All the meta decks right now are just everything that's 3 or less, or where you got a Siege Rhino, Anafenza, Sidisi, all that good stuff. Just backed up by a removal sounds like the most amazing thing right now.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I like the card. I think it's cool. I think casual players are gonna go head over heels for it. So from a financial standpoint, he's cool. He'll just be one of those planeswalkers that's $8, $10 probably, maybe more.
People
I
are
think it'd be more
coming
than that.
so boldly
Maybe.
saying oh, this guy's going in Tron. So,
No, he's nowhere near as good as Karn.
I
No,
know,
I
but
think it'd be
that's
$20
what people were saying. He could be put alongside with Karn, because literally
It's not
everything
that-
you're playing in that deck is a colorless thing.
True. I just don't know if it's that good. I mean, it's a Wrath when you could just be playing Wraths anyways. I don't know.
He's amazing.
Your Worm Coalition lives, your Karn lives.
Oh, that's true. Your Tron lands live. I don't know. I'm a big pessimist when it comes to most cards. And we're going to talk through each one of these cards, but the majority of Magic players, when they see new cards spoiled of any kind, they're like, oh my goodness, this is great, this is playable, this goes in X, Y, Z. And then, but when you do the math, right, when you go back and actually look at the number of cards that are played in any of the actual top competitive decks, right, out of any set, there's 4 cards that actually make headway, right? Ever. Although during each of those spoiler seasons, people were this card's going to be in this deck, this card's going to be in this deck. They said it for 50 different cards. So I don't know. I'm usually a huge pessimist when it comes to thinking that basically anything is playable, unless it's just right there on the nose. But
he is a control player's dream, though.
Oh, I'm definitely going to throw him in Mardu Planeswalkers and see how that works out for me.
I don't know, man. I'd rather just be attacking them with Sarkhan in that kind of deck, right? Or just shooting them and doing some stuff.
Blue-black and blue-white control is where he's going.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
So, I mean, blue-black control, they're playing, a Pearl Lake Ancient as their win condition.
Right.
6 feet. And they use Perilous Vaults right now. So, I mean, he's essentially going to do this. He's going to perform the same
better
role
than
Perilous Vault.
Or isn't Perilous Vault just better, though?
Oh, it's a 9-mana investment.
That's a good call.
Between 2 turns.
Sure.
But, I mean, it's a control player, so it's I don't care about 2 turns.
Yeah.
You have to invest all your mana
I guess.
at sorcery speed instead of an instant speed like a control player would want to, because they want to be reactive.
Right.
He also gives them a clock, which they only have a certain amount of cards that give them a clock, like Prognostic Sphinx and a Pearl Lake Ancient.
He actually is very much like a Prognostic Sphinx, right? I mean, it's just 3 damage.
Yeah. He's not.
Yeah,
you're not getting the try 3, but you're getting the 3 damage, and you have the potential of gaining 7 life, drawing 7 cards.
Right.
We already know from the last standard format that Sphinx's Revelation was the dominant thing. Just people conceded off a big Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah, but how often? I just don't think you're going to ultimate this guy that much. I just don't.
Well, I don't think that's what he's going to be good at. What he's going to be good at is, on the turn he comes out, he's going to be the only thing left on the board.
Yeah.
90% of the time.
I'll give you that.
And that's exactly what I was coming at with the whole Sarkhan thing. He'll be the last thing left on the board. So unless they have, the burn spell to kill him or the downfall, which they could. It's always there, the ability.
I mean, most of the time they probably will.
Right.
Yeah, but you're also wiping their board no matter what.
You're basically...
but if he lives and stays, they're probably in trouble, because they're just
they're going to lose, most likely.
Well, yeah, because they're going to start taking 3 to the face.
Yeah, they're just going to take 3 over.
And then, every other spell that they try to resolve after that, since they untap, could also be countered. Creatures can be killed by their downfalls, Bile Blights, Drowning Sorrows, everything. He has, in that shell, I feel like he can be, the most protected.
But I think that's the only real place he has, in Standard at least.
I feel like, Blue-White Control for sure. But like I said, I'm going to try him out in Mardu Planeswalkers, because, with all these Blue-White heroics going on, the worst card that can be played against them is a board wipe or a Crackling Doom. And Mardu Planeswalkers plays both of those. And I feel like it's perfectly positioned in this metagame. Anger of the Gods kills Hornet Queens, tokens, all that stuff that they use. Kills Sidisi, her zombies. In Hostility kills everything they have as well. They have utterance to get rid of their whips. Sideboard can also have like anything they want it to do to just like. I feel it's very well positioned in this meta, and I feel like one of him in that deck is not bad.
Sure. All right, you guys want to talk about nice phone, whoever's phone that is. You guys want to talk about some new mechanics?
Yeah.
Which one would you like to start with?
All right, let's look at Whisperwood Elemental. So Whisperwood, that thing's awesome. So the Whisperwood Elemental is a 4/4 green elemental creature for 3 colorless and 2 green mana. It says at the beginning of your end step, manifest the top card of your library. So a manifest is a new mechanic that's supposed to sort of be a de-evolution of the morph mechanic. So morph is, you can put a creature card down for 3 mana. It's a colorless 2/2, and then you can turn it up. Face up anytime. You could pay for the mana cost of its morph up cost, right? So what Manifest says, it's a little bit different. It actually has its own token. So Morph has its own token. Manifest has its own token, so you can't cheat. It says, put a card onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature, so from the top of your library. Turn it face up if you can, anytime for its mana cost if it's a creature card. Whisperwood Elemental also says sacrifice this card until end of turn, face up non-token creatures you control gain when this creature dies, manifest the top card of your library, which is just super crazy.
Hello, board wipe.
Yeah, it's just like a deterrence against a board wipe.
Right. So you guys want to talk about kind of how crazy Manifest is? Like
So
as
limited,
a mechanic?
it is just like stupid.
Yeah, Manifest is fantastic in Limited, right? So Limited, I mean, all I want is a board full of guys that attack, right? And Manifest is a mechanic that turns the lands that were on the top of my deck that I would otherwise not be able to use, and I would otherwise want to, like, loot away if I could.
And the weaker creatures and spells.
Yeah. And this creatures and spells that for whatever reason aren't as good as just having a grizzly bear at the time. It turns them into creatures, and that's just, like, totally ridiculous. And even if you hit a creature, you don't have any sort of feel bad because you can literally just turn it into that creature for its normal mana cost if you want anyways.
And if you're playing in that limited deck, you're going to have that mana to flip that guy anyways. The only feel bad situation you have is if like you want to manifest and there's a card that you're looking for and you manifest that card.
And it's not a creature,
Yeah, and like the only feel bad you have is like not manifesting into a creature and you hit like a spell or a land.
Or like the one forest you need maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Huh.
Right.
So I didn't know it was at the end step that it manifests. That's kind of neat.
Isn't that interesting?
So it gives you 6 power.
So it hangs around as a 4/4. If they don't kill it, then at the beginning of your end step. So before they can even zap it, the trigger goes on the stack at the end step, and you get a 2/2 regardless. So
another cool thing you can do is like say you have a board of like 2 dudes, you play it and then swing, and you're like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, I could just manifest mine and then just trade. I'm like,
right, and then just get dudes. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just keep getting dudes. You're like, sweet.
Yeah, I think this card's fantastic. I think Manifest is a super cool mechanic too.
I don't know if it's going to be standard playable. I mean, it might.
Oh no, it won't. It will not be. Like, how many more cards do you actually see played in standard? Like,
right.
But it's not a morph card. It manifests.
I mean, manifest. It is morphing technically.
So like you throw this in like.
No, it's not actually. That's the thing that people get that are already getting confused with. Is for all our listeners out there, remember. Manifest is not morph. They are absolutely 2 very different things. They even have 2 different tokens, right? Like they're totally different. So if you are in a competitive, so this is a little bit of that play better magic coming out, right? So if you're at a competitive level, if you're actually at a tournament, make sure that you just take the time to get some morph tokens and some manifest tokens, because if you so if you don't put exactly, so if you don't put the manifest token on top of the things you actually manifested, and let's say at the end you turn it up, whatever, you lose or you win, right? And you turn it up and it's a land, and your opponent can't remember if that's something you tried to morph or if it's something you manifested. That's on you, right? So you can actually get the game loss for not making that clear to them. So they are actually two very different things. Because you are allowed to play a land face down. You are not allowed to cast a land face down as a morph creature.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I understand that, like,
Yeah.
completely, but,
Right.
and, like, now that I think about it, you know what card in Concepts Art here with Manifest becomes, like, that much more valuable, in my opinion?
Which one?
Death Frenzy.
Oh, yeah, Death Frenzy is... Oh, my God, Death Frenzy goes way up in the pick order. No question, man.
All these tutus out here.
Yeah, so Death Frenzy, if you guys don't know, is a 2 colorless mana, black and a green. Destroy all, or deal 2 damage to each creature. For each creature destroyed this way, you gain a life. At sorcery speed, and it just wipes out all these manifest tokens. Like I said, if you're playing limited, it's very, very good. So,
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about Dash.
Oh yeah.
You guys want to look at?
I don't know how nobody will love this mechanic. Like, this mechanic is definitely standard playable worthy. I mean, I love it.
Let's look at the easy version. Let's look at a Goblin Heel Cutter. It's just a common, but just so we can introduce the mechanic. Then we'll look at the more interesting one here after this. But so Goblin Heel Cutter is a 4 mana goblin, so 3 colorless and a red. He's a Goblin Berserker, a 3/2. So if you just play him as a dude, whenever he attacks, target creature cannot block this turn. However, he has the mechanic Dash. For 2 colorless and a red. So 1 colorless less than his normal casting cost. And Dash says you may cast a spell for its dash cost. If you do, it gains haste, and it's returned from the battlefield to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. So essentially you can play cards with Dash in your first main phase, attack with them if you want. But I think all of them have some sort of ability that triggers either when you attack or when they come into the battlefield. And when you're done, right, at your end step, they go back to your hand. So they don't actually stay on the battlefield as creatures. So I think this mechanic is fantastic. I think it's kind of a prettied up, kind of modernized version of the evoke mechanic that we first saw in Lorwyn, which plays creature spells usually at a lower cost than their normal casting cost, but then it would put them into the graveyard because they were more like spell-like effects.
They were spell creatures, basically.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Shrink Maw and Evoker.
And don't forget Muldrifter, man.
Yeah, Muldrifter.
Just has a divination on it.
Sorry, that's the one I meant. That's one.
Yeah, man. And there were a bunch of cards like that, but these are ones that more affect kind of moving into combat from what I've seen so far. But yeah, it's basically just an updated version of Evoke. So you get to keep your creature.
Yeah, so go back all the way to Avacyn Restored, Archwing Dragon. This is exactly like what this card did. I actually tried to play that card once. I think Ronnie, you should remember that.
Yes, it was in the Lone Revenant deck.
It was, yes, it was the Lone Revenant deck.
That was such a bad deck.
Oh, Lone Revenant.
It did its job in one. That's all that matters. I somehow got it to do what it needed to do. But they do exactly like what he did. Come in, swing, come back to your hand at the end of turn. But these ones are actually coming in with added effects, like this Goblin Heel Cutter. He's just like a Frenzied Goblin, kind of like a Firefish Striker ability.
Goblin Short Cutter.
Short Cutter. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that as well. And it's just like it's a good card. I like it. I mean, what's its power and toughness?
It's a 3/2.
I like this card a lot, man.
It's a 3/2 for
3?
4 for 3.
Yeah, for that. But I mean,
it's gonna die at the turn. It gets played most of the time.
I mean,
maybe. It's turn 3 though. I mean, you're attacking
He's a 3/2 though. He gets
Who
blocked
cares?
by
I feel like with the dash card, I feel like it's going to come down, and it's always going to come in for its dash. Unless you're like in dire need of a creature on
Of
the
a
board
blocker.
to block, yeah, like the card is mostly going to come in with its dash.
Yeah, I agree.
The key thing with this guy is just hop straight onto a curve, like drop a 2-drop, next turn, dash this guy in. Their one creature can't block, hit them for 5 right off the bat.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, I think it's really good. Okay, so like I said, we talked about the dash mechanic a little bit. Now let's look at kind of a flashier version. So if we look at the Flame Rush Rider is a human warrior, a red human warrior for 5 mana. So 4 colorless and a red. He's a 3/3. Whenever Flame Rush Rider attacks, put a token onto the battlefield tapped and attacking that's a copy of another target attacking creature. So you can't copy Flame Rush Rider with his own ability, which is weird because on the card he is copying himself. So.
Well, actually, this guy has 2 sword thingies.
Oh yeah, and Flame Rush only has 1, I guess. So.
But it's weird that he's even creating flame copies and he's a warrior. Wouldn't you be like a shaman or something?
Oh yeah, oh for sure. I don't know what's going on here.
I mean,
But-
I just love this card. Like,
Okay, so he dashes though. He dashes for 4. That's what matters. So you make a token onto the battlefield tapped and attacking this copy of another target attacking creature. You then exile that token at the end of combat. So this guy actually sticks around during the second main phase until the end. The token, of course, does not. Like I said, if you dashed him for 2 colorless, a red and a red, then he goes back to your hand.
Yeah, he's basically a twin flame attached to a 3/3 body that has haste.
He's like He's like twin flame attached to a Fellhide Spirit Binder. Do you guys remember that card?
That is correct, actually.
Is that the tribute card?
Yeah.
It was the
Inspired.
It was inspired.
Oh, the inspired card?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
guy.
keep trying to make rare versions of this ability, and none of them are like ever played.
The only one that's
they
played
try
was
it all the time. Yeah, Kikijiki, yeah.
And Splinter Twin.
But obviously those were broken, so they're
They were
like, how can
broken.
we make a not broken version of this? And
Like this guy, like as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh man, what 3 drops come down before him that I can
Right.
copy that are just amazing. Like,
Right.
because he's coming in at a 4 spot, which some decks, I mean, like have better 4 spots than him. Like, you don't want him to come in like with a red-green monster shell because you got Blue Chronos already there, and I don't see really anything taking his spot. You know, he's that dude
right.
for that
I don't
deck.
find him played at all. Standard.
You don't see this guy being played at all. I can see him being played in like a Rush Jeskai deck, like a 3-drop, like have like a Rabble Master, another Rabble Master coming.
He doesn't
in,
even copy
another,
Rabble Master's effect.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just another swinger, or he can like have a Mantis Rider, copy a Mantis Rider, have that come in. I don't see that being bad at all.
That's not bad.
You'll need to have like
I
another
mean, that's
mountain.
really-
You have to like hit another mountain basically. But
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, also like dual lands, you
Right.
know. And
Yeah,
if it's a,
no.
if it's like if it's a Jeskai Rush deck, you're gonna be playing with like Pain lands and
Sure.
God help me, Mana Confluence.
Woo!
Oh, Mana Confluence. Okay, so that's Dash. I think it's cool. I don't think it's bad at all.
I like
Especially
it.
in Limited. I think in Limited it just lets you have creatures that are also spells if you don't need to play in those creatures, which is always amazing. Always amazing. Okay, let's talk about the last named mechanic that we have right now, that's spoiled so far, which is Bolster.
Bolster.
So let me find, let's look at an uncommon version of Bolster so we can get kind of the, look at an
there's
easy
one out
version
yet.
of this.
Honors Reward.
Yeah. So, so card Honor's Reward is a white instant for 3 mana. It's uncommon. 2 colorless and a white. Honor's Reward says, you gain 4 life, period. Then it says Bolster 2, period. Bolster, when you bolster, you choose a creature with the least toughness among creatures you control, and you put X 1/1 counters on it, where X is the number that follows bolster. So, so in this case, bolster 2. You look on your board, find the creature with the least toughness, and it gets 2 1/1 counters at instant speed for 3 mana. Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, gain 4 life.
Incidental life gain's always fine.
Like I said, always.
Did you pay 2 to bolster 2? Or pay 3 to bolster 2?
I would pay 2 to bolster 2.
Would you pay 3?
I'm never wrong. I'm never mad about like gaining some life.
I would pay. Well, I mean, I pay 4 for Dragon Scale Boon at common. That untaps
But
my
on
guy, I
taps.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're doing Awaken the Bear for 3 that gives +3/+3 trample.
I think this one's actually a better combat trick when you're attacking, like when you're beating down.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't
really
think it's as good.
racing. You're
Yeah,
trying to race,
yeah.
you're like,
Or
this for life.
Honors Reward Unlimited is also awesome when like all of a
This
sudden.
for life, add 2 more damage onto the damage I'm already going to do to you.
Well, I don't think the gaining for life is that big of a deal unless you count it kind of in the damage swing. But what matters is when you're in limited and you've drafted in Khans of Tarkir, you can draft the lords that actually kind of turn on other cards that have +1/+1 counters on them and give them extra abilities like Lifelink, Death Touch, First Strike, etc. So all of a sudden you have these guys on the board that look innocuous because you've really only got like 3 mana up, so nothing can really happen. You attack with the guy they block thinking they're going to trade favorably, and all of a sudden you honors reward and you give that guy 2 +1/+1 counters, and all of a sudden your guy gains like First Strike, right? And it's that's super good. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the mechanic is super cool.
It's another good card to play with the Abzan kind of tribal-y +1/+1 counter.
I like it.
I like
from
it.
Tons.
Works so nice with prowess as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see. So I mean, those are okay. So we've gone over kind of all the mechanics that are new and named, which is really, really cool. There's also a series of cards throughout Fate Reforged that are modal, so they have different modes. So they have 1 or 2 different modes that you can choose to play as you cast them, and that's Wizards' way of saying, in this timeline you can choose either event A or event B, and it's going to change the outcome. It's going to make a different world because we're going back in time. Right, it's going to save humanity, and
dragons.
Or actually probably dragons, as we already know that the third set in the block is called Dragons of Tarkir. But it's, again, these modal cards are supposed to kind of evoke the fact that you have a choice in the matter, right? You get to actually dictate fate. You get to, quite literally reforge the fate of Tarkir, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Are there any cards I missed that you guys want to talk about?
I want to talk about the legendary black-red dragon that also has
naturally.
Do you? Is that what you want to talk about? Sure, we can talk about that.
Actually, no. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the mono blue rare for 6. I like that guy a lot.
Oh, this guy? This guy...
Limited.
This guy was actually submitted by Trick Jarrett, who's used to be the community manager, or I think he is the community manager now. He used to be editor-in-chief for dailymtg.com. But they do, in research and development, they do what's called hole filling, where they have some rares that still need to be created, and they'll ask people from outside their research and development teams to just submit some cool card ideas. And this was one of his that actually made it through. So yeah, I think he said there was a tweet about it. It's called I Avengers. He actually tweeted about it, and he said he thought it got all the way through design because he called it Tricky Gin, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah, so I Avengers is a blue Jin monk creature for 6 mana, 4 colorless and 2 blue. It has prowess. Prowess is a mechanic from Khans of Tarkir that says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. I Avengers also says whenever I Avengers attacks, you may return target creature to its owner's hand if its power is less than I Avengers' power. And it starts off as a 4/5. Of course, whenever you cast non-creature spells, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger for that turn. So.
Yeah, so we already, in Khans of Tarkir, there's already a card exactly like this, Riverwheel Aerialist. It's also a 4/5.
For 6.
For 6.
It does fly, though.
It does fly.
This card, I feel is it may not have flying, but it's also almost on the same power level. I'm not going to give it exactly the same one.
Isn't it crazy, though, because this is a rare?
Yeah, just because this one has the, I can see why it's a rare. It just throws something back into their hand.
It's kind of a tempo play.
Yeah.
It's a tempo play. They have to play that again. They have to waste another turn doing that again. That's pretty big in a limited format, I believe. I just target this dude with a Defiant Strike because, I love that card.
Also, don't forget, if you get super lucky and you draft this in your first pack and then you draft a Wingmate Rock in your second or third pack, you can attack with this, return Wingmate Rock to your hand, cast Wingmate Rock again.
Yeah, so it doesn't specify an opponent. It can be just any creature.
Return target creature to its owner's hand.
Oh wow, that makes things a lot more interesting. Let's just get that out there.
Yeah, so like, it's it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said I like this card a lot.
For limited, it's like amazing.
I believe
Card's great.
This is definitely a pack one, pick one whenever you see like because it's just blue. Like this.
It's one color commitment.
You got Sultai, Timur, Jeskai. Like this guy is really, really good as a rare.
Right.
Now the one stinky thing is against the Abzan deck, he's probably not going to be the biggest creature. So
that's totally true. That's totally true. Yeah, unfortunately he requires you play a few more spells than that are going to eat up some of your creature slots that you could otherwise, attack with and win the game with. So in limited, I still think he's fantastic regardless, but you just have to build your deck a little more with this card in mind. So.
Flying crane technique.
Yeah, that works. Although that usually just wins the game. So.
Yeah, that's
obviously
Okay. So I think that's it for kind of Fate Reforged mechanics. Looked at the cards we wanted to look at. Okay, so let's talk about this. So let's transition from talking about these cards to what's actually going to be in Fate Reforged booster packs. Okay, so our buddy Blake Rasmussen, who's the new editor-in-chief of DailyMTG.com, put out a post that says essentially that in Khans of Tarkir booster packs, in Fate Reforged booster packs, sometimes the basic land slot will be replaced with either, the tapped refuge lands, so the ones that are enemy and allied colors and gain you 1 life when they come to the battlefield tapped. And an even smaller percentage of the time, the basic land is going to be replaced with a fetch land that will have the Khans of Tarkir set symbol and stamp on it. So what do you guys think about that?
It's trying to introduce more fetch lands.
You think so?
Yeah, of course, like naturally.
Sorry, I had to mute myself. What were you talking about again?
So our buddy Blake Rasmussen essentially said he created a post that said when you are opening Fate Reforged booster packs, you have a chance for the basic land to be a tapped refuge land, which are the enemy and ally colored dual lands.
Yeah, okay, I know what we're talking about. We're talking about that article you posted to us. Yeah, it's just like it's giving us more mana fixing, and then also it's lowering the prices of the fetch lands by just a tad bit more because there's that slight more chance that you can open them in this.
I don't think it'll lower the prices any more than they would have been because the chance is so low.
Yeah, the chance is incredibly low. I mean, it'll probably be 2 or 3 per box.
It's like Shocklands back in Dragon's Maze.
Yeah.
Correct. Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting choice. I know from a math perspective, adding a new refuge into a limited format, so a booster draft in particular, every couple of packs is probably correct, since you're losing 1 pack with a very high, what's called as fan of, so as you're fanning the pack out, how many of these refuge lands you would usually see if you were drafting triple Khans of Tarkir. So this keeps those numbers a little bit closer to what they were before. But then, of course, they always add in that added little treasure bonus of being able to open a fetch land, which is really just to sell booster packs. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Okay.
I mean,
I like it.
From what I've seen, most of the Fate Reforged cards are mainly monocolored. I mean, there have been some multicolored ones so far. And I think we're going to keep with that. So, I mean, having 1 pack of that and then 2 cons, having those extra duels, well, the refuge lands, will definitely help make multicolor decks easier.
Oh, I totally agree. And what's super interesting is you're right. There's actually a lot less gold cards in Fate Reforged, but we are going to see, and this is a thing that Jeremy alluded to earlier. We're going to see an increase in the number of hybrid mana symbols within cards, right? So hybrid mana symbols is you can pay, it's an either or for 2 different colors of mana. right?
Yeah,
And
Yusova Dragon Claw.
exactly. So they said we're not going to actually see hybrid mana in the actual mana costs or the casting costs of creature spells, but we will see it within a lot of kind of text box and activated abilities. Yeah.
Do you think
So.
Do you think each con will have that hybrid ability?
I don't even. Cons don't really exist. Like I don't even know if there's going to be
the
one of each color.
Rare.
Of each color? Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. That's an easy thing for them to. They like to categorize these things. They like to make them into
cycles.
Into meaningful cycles, so players have something to expect, something to look forward to. Again, it's just a thing that sells booster packs. So I thought that was pretty cool too.
It's interesting they put both the dragons and those legendary creatures at rare instead of mythic.
Yeah, that's something very interesting. I mean, you have to realize this set only has 185 cards instead of 269 or whatever. So you're working with 100 less cards or whatever. So so the mythic slot gets quite a bit smaller, like their allocation for mythics. And we've only seen one. No, we've seen two. We've seen Yogen and Whisperwood Elemental. So I'm assuming each color will get one, and then Yogen will have one. So it might only be 6 or 7 total. Which again is probably why they didn't have room to make these the dragon generals, if you will, mythic. Okay, you guys. So we got through all that stuff. Awesome. This is actually a really good first episode of A Better Magic Podcast. Do you guys want to talk at all about Modern Masters 2015? I know a lot of the podcasts out there have already talked quite a bit about it, but anything maybe you guys are looking forward to? We don't have to go over what's already been spoiled or whatever, but if you guys want to talk about maybe what you'd like to see in the set, and maybe we can talk about how the fact that the booster packs are $10, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, they're expensive. How many packs come in a box? Is it still 36 or is it 24?
24.
24. So that's $240 ish.
Yeah.
MSRP.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. White.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
You think Charmer Book will be reprinted?
I don't know about that one. Everybody's saying it. Everybody thinks it's a shoe-in, but I really don't.
It has to be because the prices are just going up.
I mean, printing it the first time made it go up. So what do you think printing it the second time is going to make it?
Well, it wasn't because of that it made it go up, was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was just based on the amount it's used.
No, think about it. It's simple economics, man. So they print a set that has quite a limited print run, right? But it's enough of a print run to get more people interested in a format. The more people that enter the format puts demand, so it puts pressure on the cards that are played in that format. Tarmogoyf is one of the most played and most sought after cards in the format, so you print this thing that makes more people enter Modern, but you don't print enough more of the cards in Modern so they actually can play the game, so demand exceeds supply, prices go up. So, but I mean, to your point, Ronnie, if they were to print more Tarmogoyfs, it would be simply because there's going to be a larger print run of Modern Masters 2015 than there was of the first one, and they made that very, very clear. We don't know how much more, but we know it will be significantly more. So maybe for that very reason.
Fix that problem specifically.
Maybe. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't even know they like that card existing in the first place. Putting more of them out there always kind of burns their heart a little bit.
What are the popular cards in Modern anyways?
Delver.
Yeah, but Delver's 20 cents.
It's $1, isn't it?
Maybe it's $1 now. You can still get them for like 20 cents though.
Is it? It's after new Phyrexia, right? So not even Innistrad. So Delver can't even be in a Norse Snapcaster.
She cannot be in.
Yeah, none of those can.
So that's another thing from a finance perspective. If you want to pick up Innistrad cards, they are completely safe from reprint in Modern Masters 2015. So there you go. Which might cause a run in a month or two on Snapcaster Mages, so keep that in mind.
So the swords?
Maybe. They've made it clear, though, that they think swords are very unfun in limited formats. Randy Bueller, who actually redid the Cube online, he created the list for the Legacy Cube online, the depowered Cube. He used to be the leader of R&D. He used to be the chief of R&D, and he was like, yeah, swords are crap in Cube and in Modern and in a limited format, so we probably won't do those again.
It won't be like Batterskull or anything like that.
Yeah, it can't be Batterskull.
Moth Nexus?
Probably.
Maybe.
I'd say yes. I think we can safely assume some sort of metal craft will appear as we have the art for Edge Champion already spoiled.
Oh, yeah. Champion's out.
Which means Mox Opal is probably also a shoe-in.
Do you think all 3 Eldrazi will be in there, or just the one?
That I don't know. It might. Yeah.
If it's Modern Masters, are all 3 played, or only?
No, just Emrakul.
No, they play the one that draws 4, I believe.
Oslick?
No.
In what deck? Really?
Wrong.
Tron?
Why not?
Why wouldn't they just play 4 Emrakul?
Yeah, they do.
Anyways. Go. Continue.
Okay, so anyway, so that's Modern Masters 2015. I mean, it's going to be cool. There's going to be a GP in Vegas, which is going to be awesome. If I was rich, I would go to that. I don't have time. I can't really take all that time off. It would probably take 5 days. I'd have to take like 4 or 5 days off of work just to do it. I personally cannot afford to do that, but it would be fun. It'd be cool. It's a once in a lifetime event. It'd be cool. But and I wish all of you, if any of you listeners are going, we hope you have some fun. Let us know. Let us know how it goes. That'd be really cool.
That's an experience, though.
Yeah.
Like one you would not forget.
Oh, totally. Just like I said, once in a lifetime.
Not only are you going to Vegas, like you're playing Modern Masters 2015. You're playing like all. Is that like the day it comes out?
No, I think it's like a month after it comes out, so you have some time to practice.
Okay. Because that'd be really cool if it was like the day it came
like
out,
a
so
pre-release,
it's like brand new.
A release, yeah. That'd be really cool.
That'd be pretty awesome.
And you're in Vegas, and you're like, that'd be sweet.
Like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah.
Magic happens in Vegas.
This is true. The other thing to note for all you finance people who are debating picking up a couple boxes, Modern Masters 2015 is also going to be printed in simplified Chinese and Japanese, which Modern Masters 1 was only printed in English. So that's something to keep in mind if you're after, like foil Japanese copies or whatever, and you want those. Those would be really cool things to target if your local game store can buy from their suppliers, maybe 5 or 6 boxes, and maybe 2 or 3 of them are foreign. If you can get your hands, you go to your local shop owner and say, hey, I'm willing to pay a little bit extra to gain or to get your foreign box, like your Japanese box. I think that's not a bad idea at all if you're into doing that. And you want to sit on them for a while. We've already seen an increase in Modern Masters boxes. You could get them for about $230, $240 when they first came out. Some even cheaper than that if you quote unquote knew somebody. These are going to be probably about $200, $220. And the Modern Masters 1 boxes already go for like $360, so I've already accrued about $100 in value over a year. It is. It totally is. A lot of people do it though. I mean, I know a lot of people who bought like 8 Modern Masters 1 boxes and are now selling them for $100 profit each. It's just you have to have the capital willing to put away, willing to essentially, store in your mattress for a year. But
like a CD or something like that.
You mean? Well, I'm sorry. Say it again.
A certificate of deposit.
Yeah, you could just put it in a CD. I mean, you could also do that. But of course, these are Magic cards, and they're fun to hang on to.
No. I'm saying it's like a.
It is. Like yeah. It's a lot like a CD. Absolutely, yeah. Except it's much less secure. But but yes, it is.
But it's gonna go up.
Oh, totally.
Oh, obviously.
Totally.
But it can get stolen. Oh, that's stupid stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's dangerous. So
I'm still holding on to Annihilation for some reason.
Nice. I got one I need to buy from a buddy of mine, and I need to do that sooner than later. So all right, guys. I think we hit everything on the list. What's a card you guys are trading for or buying right now? Let's talk about that real quick. Let's do that as kind of our send-off. What card do you like right now for the next month?
For the next month?
For the next month?
From now to the next
leading
month.
Into or leading into Fate Reforged.
Leading into Fate Reforged, what card do you want to get your hand on right now?
That's a tough
So
one.
the 2 cards. Huh?
No, you go.
I like how Jeremy's like, this is a really tough question. And Ronnie's like, I got 2. Let's go.
I got 3. So Siege Rhino obviously is $4-ish, and it's played everywhere. They play Abs in everywhere. So there's no way it's going to stay like $4. Because, I mean, all the prices of cons cards are crashing right now.
True.
So picking up those, picking up Fetches, picking up Rattleclaw Mystics, picking up Butchers, because both those cards are like $1.50-ish. And they're both, like, the power level of both of those cards are insane.
Yeah.
So, and maybe like Sidisi. For standard, at least.
Sure.
Let's see. I don't really know what else.
I honestly just can't think of a card that I need to pick up because I pretty much have everything right now.
Yeah, I mean, from a Play Better Magic standpoint, we say, get the cards that you're going to play, get them while you can when they're cheap, or get them when they're cheap, sell them when they're super high, and buy them when they're cheap again if you want to play with them. It's basically the Play Better Magic rule to help. The goal. One of the goals of the show is to help keep your game as cost affordable as it can get. So.
Yep.
Or like stockpiling cards that are going to be worth a lot.
You can. That's a bit of rampant speculation, but you could do it.
Crucible of Fire.
Right, 150 copies of Crucible of Fire, right?
That's ridiculous.
Sure.
Okay, guys. I think we officially exhausted everything on our list. Thank you, listeners, for listening into the first inaugural Virgin Voyage, maiden voyage of the A Better Magic Podcast. We hope that you guys listen into a bunch more. We'll be posting these pretty frequently, so hopefully every other week or so, maybe, once we start getting them edited up.